what is TDF up to? What are their real objectives? They have opened several fronts. They are fighting in Raya. They have launched an offensive inside Afar zone. They have entered Amhara region as well. They are trying to enter western Tigray too. They are fighting on several fronts. What are their objectives? What do they want? Ethiopian government is saying that that it announced unilateral ceasefire, but TDF rejected this ceasefire, and TDF wants to divide Ethiopia. It wants to seize power in Addis Ababa. So, what is TDF up to? Yours, firstly, when Ethiopian federal government announced unilateral ceasefire in June last month, it was literally impossible for TPLF to agree to that ceasefire, because had Tigray Defense Forces accepted that ceasefire, it would have meant that TDF had accepted the status quo, and status quo back then included Western Tigray under Amhara control, Raya under Amhara control, Eritrea, Tigray border disputed areas under Eritrea control. So they were not in a position to agree to that ceasefire. Had they accepted the ceasefire, they would have been dependent on Amhara region, on Eritrea, on Ethiopian federal government for their survival. So that is why they rejected ceasefire. They were eyeing Western Tigray, which is their prime objective in my view, viewers. They want to connect with the world through a country which is not hostile to them. So they launched offensive towards Western Tigray, stiff resistance there, and they could not advance considerably towards Amhara. Now they're in power as well in Tigray. They are the government now. They need to feed the people. Millions of people are in need of humanitarian assistance. So how will they feed them? They will keep on entering Amhara region. They'll keep on entering Afar region. They need supplies for their people, and they want a corridor with a country. Here's another important thing. Djibouti corridor for Tigray, it's not very viable. Yes, they can capture Djibouti-Ethiopia road, but in the long run, this corridor is not viable, because if they are in control of this road, it means Afar will be split from the rest of Ethiopia. So either Afar will become part of Tigray, or it will become independent, but it will be split from the rest of Ethiopia. So this route, which is cutting across Afar region, it is not viable. In the long run, Tigray Defense Forces cannot plan to be in full control of this road for coming years. Their first and foremost priority is Western Tigray views. But they have not so far been able to advance deep into Western Tigray. So that is why they have moved into Afar, into Amhara. They want to put pressure upon Ethiopian government that give us the corridor, give us Western Tigray. But Amhara region is not ready to withdraw from Western Tigray. Even Ethiopian federal government will be helpless, in my view, that it isn't in a position to tell Amhara government to withdraw its forces from Western Tigray. Now Amharas are in control because Ethiopian National Defense Forces, they have suffered losses. Now it's mainly Amhara regional forces, Amhara special forces which are fighting, and they'll call the shots, not Ethiopian federal government. So Amhara regional forces, special forces, Eritrean forces as well, they're in Amhara. Tigray Defense Forces could not penetrate Amhara, so they decided to enter Amhara state and Afar state. They are capturing new territories inside Afar, inside Amhara. They're collecting supplies for their people because they want to feed their people. But they cannot feed their people by making incursions into Amhara region, into Afar region. Millions of people are in need of assistance, viewers. And right now I'm recording this video, no aid is arriving in Tigray, neither by road nor by air. Even UN aid workers and workers of other aid agencies, they are facing shortage of cash, a shortage of supplies as well. Because I did a video 2 days ago in which I told you that these aid workers at Bole airport were not allowed to take more than 10,000 Ethiopian birds while they were flying for Mekelle. So there is a shortage of cash for even aid workers. The situation is dire. Only solution to this problem is that Western Tigray must be negotiated by the two sides. Otherwise, you will see Tigray Defense Forces capturing new areas. You will see them entering new areas. Whether they capture them or not, whether they succeed in capturing or not, but they'll keep on entering new areas because they want to put pressure upon Ethiopian government and Amhara government as well. But so far, no signs of any de-escalation. Today, a massive recruitment campaign is starting in Amhara region, and we have heard statements from Maganeho Tishagar, Tafira Mamu, head of Amhara Special Forces. They are not backing out as well. They want to be in control of Western Tigray. This country is heading towards a bloody civil war, viewers, a deadly civil war. It's the right time, perhaps the last moment before this country could plunge deep into civil war, that if better sense did not prevail, we would see Tigray Defense Forces advancing deep into Amhara, deep into Afar states, and we'll see Amhara regional forces launching counter-offensives as well. Civilians will be suffering, viewers. Civilians are already suffering. No aid arriving in Tigray. Afar, 70,000 displacements in Afar, and in Amhara as well. No one is speaking about Amhara, viewers. From Kobo, from Ebergale, from Ediyarke, thousands have been displaced there as well. So civilians will keep on suffering if better sense did not prevail. It's the time to start talks over Western Tigray. Both the parties should realize that civil war will be deadly not only for the armies, for the fighting groups, but also for the civilians of this country. Thank you for watching.